Hello all. I hope you're doing good. Good morning. Am I audible?
Hey, hi. Hi, sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning all. So yesterday we have discussed a couple of topics. If there is any question from anybody, feel free to ask.
Oh, sorry, sir. I was lately joined yesterday, so I'm not into the yesterday session. What did it happen?
Okay. Not an issue. It was a generic session for traffic flow and generic session just. Okay. But good to
Okay.
understand, good for the understanding. Even for your interview questions, couple of the questions can be asked from there. So better to go with the recordings. You will get the recordings, those who were not there in the session. And today's session, we will be touching further topics with respect to the ASM. Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you, Uttam. So anybody else has any doubt who was present in the session? No doubt. Fine. Then let's go ahead and talk about more. But before going ahead, I would like to ask a question which I gave you people, yesterday, right? If there is a client, it need to interact with the web server. Okay. Then how this TLS or earlier version is SSL handshake happen? Anybody who would like to talk about it, please go ahead. Anyone? If you remember, yesterday I talked about the SSL handshake, and I gave you this blog as well. Okay. So who can talk about the SSL or TLS handshake? Yes, Hanif.
Yeah. So it starts with the client hello. So the client sends the supported TLS versions, also the cipher suites, and
Right.
if SNI is used, even that information.
Correct.
Okay. And
So
also
you are right. Step one is the client hello.
client hello. Yeah.
Write down over here, client hello. So it's a bit
So
like a
before that, sorry to interrupt. Before that, it will establish like that's three-way handshake, right? Like SYN and SYNAC. After that, once the establishment is completed.
we are just focusing on TLS. Okay. Lower layer is
Okay.
already done. So DNS or TCP already we have talked about in yesterday's session. Currently, we are just talking about SSL handshake. But yeah, you are right. So that all stuff is already covered. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So step one, you are right, Hanif. You are talking about client hello. Okay. So it's bit like if there is two-way communication happening between anybody. So bit like the same client is sending hello or hi to the server. Through the browser, he will send a message to the server. Hey server, I would like to talk with you securely. And as you are mentioning, in this client hello, he will be sending some kind of TLS version, right? What are the TLS version I can support? Maybe it will also provide encryption methods, like what are my ciphers or cipher suites or cipher suits, whatever you used to say, and optionally SNI. Okay, we have talked about SNI also yesterday, so it is an optional part. So this is server name indication. Okay, when you have same IP but different names are published over there, that is how SNI will come into the picture. This is first step. Anybody would like to talk on this first step more? No?
So
Okay.
one question here, like when the client initiate this hello package, so this TLS version and encryption way, will it choose from the server, or like initially when
No,
sending the packet it will select it?
it's from the client.
Okay.
It is client browser which will say that, okay, these all, ciphers or TLS version I can support.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Anish. Sorry,
Yeah,
Hanif.
yeah. So I think there is one more part, a client random, some key, right? Session key, just to avoid along with the client hello. Then there is a server response with
Okay.
the
So
selected TLS
is
version.
wait. Do you want to add something more over?
Yeah, so a random number, client random, would be used along with the client hello.
Do you want to say port number or what number you are talking?
I think it's a session number, just to avoid in case if some for a more secure, just to have a unique value for each session. I think it adds some random number with the hello packet, client
So
hello packet.
you are talking about port numbers here. That is port
Or,
numbers on the layer 4.
no, it's not port number. Uh, it's a random number. I remember somewhere.
So you wanted to say with respect to the session or with respect
Session,
to?
yeah.
Okay,
Session, yeah.
session.
Session.
Okay, fine.
Mhm.
Yes, there can be a session number. That is true. Okay, but that's fine. That we can
Yeah.
ignore now. Okay,
Then
go
the
ahead.
server hello, yeah, which is a response from the server.
Right, wait for a while. Let me write down here over here. Then there is step 2. In step 2, we can say it as server hello. That's fine. In the server hello, server will send a response. Okay, like client is saying hi, server is also saying hi. Okay, let me respond with you. You are right. And what it will tell?
It will have the, what TLS version the server selected.
TLS version selected, yes, depending upon the client. Then
Also the cipher suite.
cipher suites, it will be gonna pick up, or cipher suites, whatever you used to say. Okay, then
And also, since the SNI was included in the client hello, it would also give the certificate, which is,
correct.
respective to the
So
SNI. Yeah.
it will be sending SSL or TLS certificate. Okay, that is true. Certificate. That is true. So including this, it will also send a public key. Okay, the public key will be also shared in the step 2. Fine. Anybody else wanted to add something on the top of it? Any question? Anything?
Sir, one doubt here, like you're mentioning about the cipher suits, what will it contains exactly? It's kind of header, or what exactly
See,
it maintain?
yeah. So cipher suits are a bit like when we are talking about encryption, right? So what is
Mm-hmm.
encryption? Encryption is including a lot of things into it, right? So like Diffie-Hellman group, okay? What is you are using for your authentication? So there are hell lot of things which will come into the picture when we are talking about cipher suites. So those all things will be the part of your SSL handshake. So as I'm just telling that it is SSL handshake, but when
Mm-hmm.
you are asking for cipher suites, it's like let me just mention some of them. Okay, it is bit like your key exchange algos. Okay, what are the key exchange algorithms you are using? Bit you have heard about RSA,
Right.
Diffie-Hellman. You have heard about ECDH.
ECs.
You have heard about PSK, right? So these are your key exchange algorithm, one thing. Then what about the not algorithm, sorry. It should be authentication. Authentication. So how you are doing the authentication between these two, or maybe you can say digital signature algorithm. Again, you can use RSA for the same. You can use ECD SA, if I'm not wrong. Okay, there is DSA. So this is your authentication. One thing, two thing. Third thing, what the encryption method you are using, bit like AES. Then maybe you have heard
MD5.
about Camellia. Yeah. So there are lot of key or you can say bulk algorithm, for the encryption you are using. Then what you are using for your message authentication code algorithm. It can be again your SHA-based algorithm, SHA-256 or more than that or lower than that, okay, or Poly 1305. So that is how your all ciphers or cipher suites will be decided. Okay, so this is a thing. Maybe you can say ciphers or algorithms, more specifically you can say set of steps for performing your cryptographic function for encryption, decryption, hashing, digital signature. All those things will come into the picture. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Fine. Any question in step 2 from anybody? Step 2 is clear to everybody? Perfect. Let's go ahead. Hanif, continue.
I think certificate validation. The next
Step
step.
3. Okay. So step 3 over here. Let me just write down like there. Step 3, we can say certificate validation. Okay. What client will do for the certificate validation?
It would look for the server
Expiry.
SSL, yeah, expiry.
First of all, the expiry date, either it is expired or no. What else?
CA, CS.
It will check CA. What CA is, bit like if you people are aware about, IP assignment. So you have IANA. Okay. After that, there are couple of more authorities like RIPE for your Europe, RIPENet. Yeah. Then APNIC for your Asia Pacific, like APNIC, bit like that. Yeah. And then maybe if you are going for an IP address assignment to maybe your server or to your uh, desktop, you will go to the Airtel. But Airtel in turn will go over here. This guy will go over to INA, right? So there is a whole hierarchy. Like if you want to buy Maggie, you don't go to the Maggie company directly, right? You go to the shopkeeper nearby you. Similarly, when we are talking about certificate, you are getting certificate maybe from organization 1. This organization 1 is taking the certificate maybe from organization 2. And in the end, there is organization 3 who is taking care of everything. This is bit like you can say root CA. Okay, this is root CA. This is this, if there is a whole chain from here to here, we can say those are intermediate CAs, right? In between these are coming. So when we are talking about certificate validation, the client will check who is the root CA. If root CA is into his list, okay, in the browser list, you will get that green symbol. Otherwise, let me show you. So if you see, there is no error. Yeah, there is no error. It is showing it is safe. If we check maybe facebook.com, see no error. But if I will go for maybe and sorry, there should be some, or maybe let me show you the images. Huh? So you have seen such images a lot of time, right? Why? Because your root CA is not signified. Okay, so such kind of errors will come on or appear in front of you when your root CA is not recognized by your browser. So that might be an issue appearing onto your PC. Okay, what else? Hanif, what else?
Is there any SNI info, the matching domain name as well, right?
Right. So domain thing, it will check, that is true. So these all things client will validate. Once this validation is complete, okay, anybody else wanted to add some more steps onto this point? Step number 3. Anyone? Or any questions? No? Give me a minute. There is a phone call. I'm sorry for the delay. Yeah, I'm back. So any questions or any suggestions, any point in step number 3 from anybody? No? Okay, fine. Let's move ahead. Hanif, continue with step 4.
I think it's key exchange.
Key exchange. Okay. So it is key exchange. We can write down that, or maybe we can say symmetric key. Symmetric key will be created over here. Okay,
Comes in the
let's
data transfer, right?
we will talk about it. That symmetric in a moment. But key exchange. Okay. So this step is by whom? Go ahead.
It is by the client only.
By the client only. Okay, what client will do?
Client generates a private.
We can say it
key
as
pair. Yeah.
We can say it as a symmetric key then, if you are talking about the same. So what he is trying to tell, that client and client browser, when I'm saying client, okay, client browser and server. If you are aware in your maybe NCRT topics in 9th class or 7th class or 8th class, we have something here, it is A, here it is B, and in the last we used to prove that, okay, hence proved A equal to, right? That whole kind of logic will come into the picture, okay? Because private key is residing over here, private key. For public key, he is having that public key available, right? So it will do some kind of encryption. When sending the data, it will do some kind of encryption. Since it has private key, it can do that kind of decryption and re-encrypt and maybe send it back to the client. And when they are talking with each other, they will use some kind of methods, as I was taking the name like Diffie-Hellman or ECDHE. So they will generate a secure key. So let us say A equal to B equal to Z. Now it is also having a key named as Z. It is also have a key named as Z. Now earlier they were doing the communication based on different key, which is named as asymmetric asymmetric communications. Okay, when we are talking about asymmetric communication, it means there is another key to make it encryption, and there is another key to make the decryption. This kind of communication really takes a lot of resources. Okay, so in the end, we need to do the encryption and decryption using the same key, which is named as symmetric communications. Okay, and is there step 5 also? Hanif?
I'm not sure. I think session key confirmation will be there, right?
Right. So we can say handshake is completed. Handshake is completed. And by now, whatever your communications will be running on in between these two guys will be encrypted. Okay. And same way, if you remember, yesterday we were checking the same thing, no? So let me show you, maybe let me open Wireshark again. Give me a minute. And let me maybe open to the incognito window. That will be okay. So I just opened that, and if I just block it and see this TLS thing, let me just search for NetMedian. Otherwise, we will further made it using the, let me do that, TLS dot handshake extension server name equal to netmedian.net. Oh, why not? It's not captured anything. Maybe, okay, give me a minute. Incognito does not have cookies. Then what could be the issue? Give me a minute. Let me open something else. Let me see. Am I getting something with, yeah, currently I can see something with that. Fine, let me remove it. Let me stop. Let's dot. Okay, here you go. Fine. So can you see this? It is 1160. Okay. Let me go to 60. So here if you see, there is some labs netmedian.net. Okay, it's going for fine. It's not an issue. So can you see, guys, this there is a client hello 10, right? So if you just go into the TLS, which is transport layer security, you can check over here in case of this whole step 1. See what all the things. Maybe you are talking about this session ID, Hanif, earlier when you were mentioning that one thing more comes. Maybe
No, the random one that was I was talking. The random, right? The
this
random. Yeah, random that.
So there are a lot of details. If you see session ID also get generated, random also generated, but we will not go deep dive into that. Okay. So we can see that there are a lot of things which it will go with. Okay. That is how your client hello will contain. Somewhere, if you will just scroll it down, we could able to see the server hello also. Maybe this is for somebody else, but yeah, we can check it. Okay. This is for somebody else. So you can see there is a server hello. So in this server hello, you can able to see there are hell lot of fields over there. So we can see server protocol, server certificate, key exchange, Defi helmet, whatever I was talking about earlier. So a bit like that. Once your client hello and server hello is completed, then you can able to see like this application data. And when you see application data, okay, although I am just checking the different websites, these are not the same websites, but I'm just showing you. Here you can see you cannot able to check what's going inside into that. Data payload is not visible to you. Why? Because it is encrypted application data. If you need to open it, for sure, there are some settings in your Wireshark where you can import the keys and you can check the data. But currently, as I am showing you, you can see it is all the stuff is protected payload. Fine. Any question on this or any suggestions? Any other thing you would like to add upon? Anybody?
So can we have a look at the step 4? It should be asymmetric, right? Not symmetric. The
What?
step 4 of
Step
TLS.
4. Yeah.
Hmm.
So using step 4, what I did, I merged the two. Okay. So if you see this SSL handshake or TLS handshake, here I have explained everything, right? So I merged those two steps because you were talking about the same. So if you see, I explained it into the 8 point. Okay. But that doesn't matter. Eventually it is doing the same thing. So if you see this picture, client hello, then TLS certificate exchange, then server validation. Okay. Then session key generation with public key. Then client, even client validation will be also can happen. then your private key decryption is done, then your master key establishment is done, and then your symmetric data is begins. So it depends like what you are doing, because you were explaining about a way. So I just covered it into the 4 steps that hardly matters. But yeah, if you wanted to go for, please refer this. Okay, you will get all the details. I just pasted it in the chat. Okay, any questions from anybody?
So one I have a doubt here, like we're discussing about symmetric and asymmetric key, right? So, and in the most case, what we use in real, asymmetric
So
or
that is what
symmetric?
I am saying. Both. That is what I was saying. How? Because first the key exchange is not there. So you have a public key. Okay. You may as a client, and server has a private key. So both they need to generate a similar key. Okay. So initial communication will be asymmetric, and post that there would be like, as I talked about, A equal to B equal to Z. So Z will be used for your symmetric communication. So earlier there will be asymmetric, post then it will be a symmetric communications.
And compared to the symmetric, it would be more secure than the symmetric, right? Asymmetric is.
No, we are not talking about the security here. We need to talk about all the things, like if we are doing a symmetric stuff, it will resource executive, I will say. Okay, so your resource will be highly utilized.
Got it, got it.
Yeah. So to avoid that, we are using the same.
Okay.
True. Okay. Have you anybody gone through the OWASP? OWASP? Because our next topic is OWASP Top 10. So yesterday we talked about OWASP, right? And we came to know that even they have changed their full form also. It is new one is open worldwide. Worldwide application security project. Okay. You people are aware by now that it is a non-profit foundation that work to improve the security or software online community, okay, or whatever you can say, producing documentation, tools, technologies, methodologies, articles, whatever you wanted to say. But the core principles is they are they are providing the free material which is available for everybody. Anybody can go to their website, check about the security vulnerabilities, and because they have well-known OWASP Top 10 project, where they used to publish these top 10 threats on the internet. Earlier, I showed you that it was published into 2017. The newer one is in 2021. Okay. So if I see, this OWASP Top 10 vulnerability, okay. So you can see this is the picture what I am referring to. Here you, or better if I can, cut it. Give me a minute. Let me use the snipping tool. Let's talk about one by one, okay, on these vulnerabilities today. First of all, let me tell you one thing. This is not related to the ASM, okay? This is related to anybody who is working on your application or who is working on layer 7 probably. Okay, so that is how it will be getting used. So very first is your injection attacks in 2017. But now, if you see, it's jumped down to the position of third. And if you see, there was 5th position of broken access control, which is now jumped to the 1st position in 2021. So let's talk about 2021 side, which is the right hand side for sure. Okay. Anybody, what is broken access control? Any idea? Any guess? Maybe. Anyone? What is broken access control?
Sir, hello.
Yes, go ahead. Rajesh.
Can I get- Broken
Yes,
access control is like try to access for your server or your applications through them while hitting the password or the default or maybe like a million and thousands to your server or applications and try to access your application service.
correct.
That's when you
So
broken access control.
you are right. So let me write down. Okay. The very first what we are discussing is broken access. So in very layman term, as you are saying, it is ranking 1, by the way. Okay, ranking 1 nowadays. So it means that give me a minute. Sorry. So I am available again. So broken access control, as you can able to see, you are getting broken with the access. Okay, as you were giving the example, Rakesh, that is true. That when maybe you are no, maybe okay, there can be a lot of name. There can be something like forceful browsing can be there. Okay, using the forceful browsing, probably you can do it. You can do it with unrestricted API access, probably. Okay. And maybe you can say with the elevation of privilege. Okay. So what happened is, in case of your broken access control, your authorization is getting breaked. So everybody of you are aware about RBAC, role-based access control, right? We used to put it in everybody's environment. So access control means what? Access control means authorization, which means a security measure that for a resource or like, let us say this is a normal resource. Over the website, he has the control over only 4 parts, but this is an admin, and admin can control whole soul of the website. Maybe if it has 2000 pages, it can go for the 2000 pages, right? He has all the control. So there are different authorization level. Broken access control means when one who is having a limit, but he tried to do some kind of maybe hacking or some kind of thing to get the unauthorized access on the sensitive information. So if such a person can able to get access, then he can create something which is inappropriate. Maybe he can delete maybe all the important data or the resources which he should not. And as I told you, forceful browsing can be there, privilege escalation can be there. Okay, and there are a lot of things which can happen. And just FYI, what they are claiming that 94% of application are still exploitable with such kind of broken access control. Okay. Is this fine to everybody? Any question? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, we are audible.
Okay. So to avoid this, as I told you that this is not related to the ASM only. So any attack, if you are talking about, it's not duty of the ASM engineer to mitigate it. It's a combined responsibility of an organization. So if you are ASM team, yes, you are into it. If you are from the application or from the server team, again, you are into this. If you are having some endpoint security on the server, you are the part of it. So it's a combined responsibility. It's not one guy job to, get mitigate such kind of stuff. So when I am talking about broken access, in general, if I will talk about, then deny default should be there, which means if somebody has some access, probably he or she can able to use it. Otherwise, we need to restrict access unless explicitly allowed. Okay. Then you should be have this RBAC in the implication. So which means you are implementing fine-grained role or and permission for everybody, for every other person. Okay. You should have some kind of session management. Session management should be there. Okay. Access control testing should be there. Regularly endpoint testing should be there. API based testing should be there. Business logic flows should be checked that you are not bypassing such kind of vulnerability. Okay. So this is how you can maybe go for your broken access control. Have you guys heard about CORS? What is CORS? Ever maybe in your organization you have heard about this stuff CORS? It stands for cross origin resource sharing. So this is very simple. Let me talk about. CORS is a security mechanism that control how web page from one domain can interact or can request the page or configuration or whatever from another domain. And any use case, if I will ask, if you talk about when you open your mobile, you can see the weather forecasting now. So I don't think so that everybody is sending their satellite in the space to check this weather forecasting. There must be one or two maybe organization who are doing this. Rest all applications are just leveraging the data from there. Or if we talk about hotel booking, if we talk about air ticket booking, okay. If you talk about this, what was that? My trip, yeah. So if you talk about these kind of applications, they don't have their own hotels here. But what they are doing, they are fetching the data from other applications and giving you the maybe consolidated view, which means CORS in itself is a legitimate thing, which means as in one organization, you can go to the another organization application and you can get the data from there. That's not an issue. But if you have misconfiguration, that can lead to the vulnerability of the broken access control or the data leakage. Are you guys getting this point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So there are a lot of rules also which come into the picture when you need to do this CORS kind of mitigation. Okay. And there are different methods like you can use, like you cannot allow for the create function, right? You can only allow just for the get function. So there are custom signatures also for sure. For any of the F5, when I'm talking about F5 ASM prevention, then there are some customized signatures which can be used in any of the attacks for any of the point. So that is one thing, like with respect to the F5 ASM, what we can do. Okay. And as I told you, CORS is an HTML feature that allow one website to access the resource from the other website. How it will do? It will do maybe with the help of JavaScript, some kind of JavaScript. Okay, JavaScript. So JavaScript is very important. Even your F5 ASM also sent the JavaScript to identify the device ID that I will be going to talk about in later on. But yeah, this JavaScript is really important. It can be through your XML format. You have heard about XML. Okay. It can be using JSON format also. So there are a lot of things, but you need to understand these features when you are using. It can be limited. It cannot be opened as it is. Okay. You need to put some limits on the top of that. So one thing is this for broken access control, what you can do, okay, providing maybe mitigation mechanism, I will say. Then attack signature I talked about. Then you can allow or disallow a couple of the URLs on the FIU ASM. Okay, if you are talking about ASM, then there is a whole URL list, there is a whole parameter list, there is a whole file types. Okay, onto these things, you can specify what are allowed and what are disallowed. Just FYI, if you will go for Palo Alto or maybe other applications, okay, other firewalls, you cannot justify these all terms over there, right? That is how the WAF is different than your next generation firewall. It allows a lot of more things which they cannot provide. Just FYI, Palo Alto also does have their own signatures, but the attack signatures provided by FIASM and for these firewalls is literally making a difference. Okay, so this is how you can go for your first. What was that? Give me a minute. Broken access. Yeah, broken access control. So that is how you can mitigate. And as I told you, it is not only FIASM. It is a combined security practice by every other team. Okay. Yesterday I talked about CVE and CWE. Yeah, CVE and CWE. Anybody read about it? What is that? If I see OWASP top 10. If you see this broken access control, see you people can able to see this CWE map. Can you see that? 34 CWEs are there. And you can see total CVEs. Can you see that? 19,000 CVEs are there, right? So it is provided over. By the way, my screen is visible to everybody, yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So if you see, there are a lot of CVEs and CWEs which are available. And if you see here, can you see these course? They are also talking about course, and they are also talking about a lot of business limit, methods. Then rate limit on API, what we talked about, stateful session identifier. This is bit like more with the term of developers. If you see, these are talking about developers. Yeah. So this is a combined thing. Just give me a minute, guys. Okay, back. So that is how you can see, even they are talking about attack signatures, sorry, attack scenarios. Okay, we cannot do that because for this we should have a sound knowledge of developing. Okay, I don't have that knowledge, that sound knowledge. So probably you can just read about it. But if you see, can you check that? CWs, permission issue, storage of file sensitive. Let us go with this. Any one you can go. Let's go with this. Improper access control probably. Now they are talking about a CW. And yesterday I talked about CWE. What is CWE, by the way? Anybody? Anyone? What is CWE? By the way, if you see on the top, this is the abbreviation, common weakness enumeration, which means that a vulnerability inside into the software or into the hardware. Okay, which means bug, you can say, coding mistake, you can say. Okay, so it is describing about that coding mistake that the product does not restrict or incorrectly restrict access to a resource from an unauthorized actor. But I wanted to show you something. Give me a minute. Can we see CV? Okay. Can you see this? With respect to one single CWE, which means one mistake in the or one bug in the code, you have such a huge disease, you can say, or you can say security. It's a security bug which come into the picture due to this CW. So it's bit like, as I was explaining earlier, cause is CWE and the diseases are CVE. So let us say due to lack of water, maybe you can have dehydration, you have dizziness, you can have weakness, you can have lot of things. So those all things which are happening is CVE, and cause is lack of drinking of water or maybe proper minerals or whatever. Okay, so liquid is not proper, lack of intake of liquid, maybe we can say. Okay, so one CW is there, which is one coding mistake is there, and then there are some observed examples are these CVE. And in WAF, when I will show you on the F5ASM, you can see that these CVE are mentioned over there in the WAF, and some of the CVEs probably you can resolve through the F5 ASM. Fine. Any question, guys? Any question on this broken access control? No? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay,
Question.
fine. Thank you. Now let's move to the second one, which is cryptographic failure. Please be noted, when this term you heard cryptographic, it is related to SSL or TLS. Okay. So in your mind, whenever somebody is saying cryptographic, you should be think about the certificate related stuff. Okay, somewhere related to their cryptographic. Okay. So this is your cryptographic failure. So attackers is okay. End goal is same. That attacker want the sensitive data like password, credit card number, personal information, PII kind of stuff. Okay. But when we are talking about cryptographic failure, it means root cause for this sensitive data is what? Cryptographic failure. Okay. It occurs when you are maybe you have a web server, then you have a, let us say, DB server, and all of the information of the client, you are just maybe, I'm just giving an example. In the clear text, you are maybe saving it. Okay. So if a bad guy, this is a bad guy, he wanted to steal this data, it is able to steal the data. And since the data is not encrypted, he is very happy, right? So he is really very happy that, okay, all the data access is with me. So one thing is clear text. Then you are protecting this data. You are using the encryption, but as I was mentioning, there are a lot of cipher suits in encryption. You are using very weak, very, very weak, very poor. So it's a bit like you are putting a lock, but that lock is on the door, but that lock is so weak that even a child will push it or pull it. Okay, it will get break. So that is how encryption is very weak. Maybe you are using weak encryption, or you are not masking the data in a proper way. Such kind of stuff when happens, then your cryptographic failure attacks are like these are prone to be, get accessed from your cryptographic failures. Now, if I will talk about LTM, not ASM, even on LTM, you people have heard about HSTS. Those who have already gone through the LTM batch, I'm expecting one of you talk about this HSTS. I described it during the classes. Showed you where is this setting, although it's only a one tick mark, but this is important. Anybody remember? No? Let me remind you. You will get understand. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think it's related to HTTPS.
Correct. In the profile. In the profile, HTTP profile, there was a field HSTS, and I showed you that you need to only tick mark it. That's it. Although there are some more options which you can customize, but if you wanted to use as default, you can just tick mark this. This is HTTP strict transport security, which means that let us assume you have a website. On this website, there are different pages available for sure. Okay, thousands of pages are there. Let us say some pages 110, 115, whatever. These pages are still working on HTTP and HTTPS both. Okay, so old users are still coming on your website and they are using HTTP page only. That is a security risk because every data is going into the plain text. To remove such kind of behavior, we can just tick mark this HSTS, which is for sure. If somebody is coming with HTTP now, okay, it will say, sorry, you are not allowed. Only HTTPS traffic is allowed on my website. Okay, so it can break your application as well. You need to give a, proper, what to say, communication. You need to send to your users that, okay, you cannot work on HTTP on our website. Go for HTTPS only. Okay. Any question on this?
Yes, sir. It means it supports only for the HTTPS only, right? So it doesn't support AT. Okay.
Yeah. Any other question? Okay. Any other question from anybody? No? Okay. Then again, those who are in the F5 LTM batch, they are aware about SSL profiles, right? Especially if we talk about SSL offloading and SSL breaching. So in this case, your F5 LTM, okay, because you are acting as LTM and ASM both. So if client is coming over here, from here to here, communication will be HTTPS. And when LTM is sending the traffic back to the client, again, it will be on the HTTPS, which means it's not bit like that, that if some attacker is coming over here and he is able to get the plain text information. No, there would be some kind of encryption. And for sure, on your LTM, when you are using this SSL profiles, you can even choose your ciphers. Okay, you can customize it. So that option is also there in your LTM box. You can use them. Okay, so that is how you are using it using your LTM. Then in your ASM, there is a feature, very simple feature it is. Okay, I will be gonna show you. Very interesting because there are something, probably I don't want to disclose it into this class, but later on I would be gonna talk about that. Even in your transparent, people are having a perception that in transparent policy there are no blocks, but there can be. I will show you, I will prove you, don't worry. Okay, I will show you in the lab, don't worry. So even if you have transparent policy, those who are working, they can understand there can be blocks. Okay, so don't get 100% confident that there would not be any block in case of transparent. Only if I am putting the policy into the blocking mode, only then it will get blocked. That is a partial truth, I will say. I will be gonna give you a couple of the examples, okay, where even in the transparent mode, you can have blocks, okay. But leave that. I'm coming back to the data guard. Data guard is a feature, okay, which says that if I have some pattern, let us say if I have a credit card of 1243 1222, whatever, okay, let us say if I this is the credit card pattern in my country. I will give this pattern, and this data guard will mask it. Okay, you can mask, maybe unmask last four or whatever. See, it depends how you wanted to do the settings. But you people have seen it maybe in your ICICI bank or whatever bank. Okay, I don't want to take the name. Oops. If you go to your bank and you wanted to take some data, you can able to see that your account number can be masked, even your amount can be masked, although we don't have such a huge amount that it need to be masked. Okay, jokes apart. But yeah, there is feature where you can mask the data. So that is data guard in case of your ASM. Any question, guys?
So data guard is just a feature in the ASM, right, sir? What I'm understanding.
True, true. And don't worry,
Okay.
there is topics which will come in upcoming classes. Currently, I am just dealing with OWASP Top 10, not with the
Okay.
ASM. Soon we will go on the ASM, and from the scratch, I will show you how ASM work, what is the security policy, what are these features. Lot of things are there with respect to the ASM, but I need to start from somewhere here. So I am just touching the first part, how OWASP Top 10 attacks are, and what we can do with respect to the ASM to mitigate that.
Got it.
Hmm. Any other question from anybody? No? Okay. Let's come back to our screen or our snapshot, what we steal from OWASP Top 10. Here we can see the third attack is injection attack. Whenever somebody will say injection, everybody is think about SQL injection, but let me tell you, it's not only SQL injection. There are hell lot of injections. Maybe if you are using Java based injection. If you are using XML parser attacks can be there. Operating system commands can be there. LDAP, if you are using LDAP based injection attacks can be happen. But since generally SQL injections attack happens, so people used to think this is SQL injection. There is some story, I don't know if it is a fake or what. That's when during the highway, there is a car, okay? When this car arrived, so whole this traffic signaling or not traffic signaling, but this camera maybe, okay, very poor camera I created. Please ignore this drawing, okay? So this camera used to take a picture for the speed, and this information go into the database, and all this database crash. Why? Because on the number plate, he was using some kind of SQL query. Okay. In USA, maybe I heard about it. Okay. Such a story. So there is some SQL query on the number plate, and all the policemen, recognize that, okay, such a car is coming. After that car only, something is happening. So they just stop that car manually and saw that on the number plate there is some kind of SQL query. Okay, so that is SQL injection tag. Yeah, even in the demo class, if you remember, I showed you with like 1 or equal to 1. Remember? In the username, I put this, and all the username and password was appearing in front of me. Do you remember? Yes, no? Am I audible?
Yes.
You forget, huh? Okay. Let me maybe show you again. Okay. Let me boot it up. I will show you it. Okay. Let me make the lab. I showed you, I don't know if you people are totally familiar, but that's fine. I will show you. Oh, whatever. Okay, let the devices get boot up, then we will check. Okay, so where are we? In the injection attacks, right? So common application technologies may be the victim of this injection attack, which are SQL. Okay, because SQL is very in use, more in use, and attackers typically exploit using the injection flows by injecting some kind of query, some kind of maybe scripts into the parameters, into the headers, into the URL, or maybe using a file, because SQL injection is really very common method, okay, to get the attack, because it just hack your SQL database and it can get all the listing of username, passwords, or maybe some PI information. So as in big IP, sorry, as in big IP admin, what you can do? You can have a lot of, first of thing, attack signatures. Those attack signatures need to be applied. When I'm saying need to be applied, what does that mean? Probably you will understand in the ASM classes, in further classes, I will say. Okay. Then you have some kind of technologies like erasing technologies. Have anybody heard about this erasing techniques? Yes, no? Let me know. See, this is nothing. This is a trick, you can say, that your hackers are using to bypass your, security layer. Bit like they can encode the URL, right? Because if you will see, let me show you. If I'm just finding out something, maybe netminion, and if you see, I am just searching this netminion space block space SSL space handshake. Okay, so not like that. Okay, netminion space .net. To show you something, but it is coming into the Google query. How to show that? Can you see this? Space is converted into some meta character, that is %20. Okay, so similarly, what these guys can do, they can use some trick. Okay, maybe instead of @ they are using like %40 to evade filter looking for specific patterns. Okay, and when you are enabling the ASM, so there is a term named as URL normalization. I will be normalization. Normalize. What is it? Let me write down again. Normalization. Okay. URL normalization. Okay. Where your ASM will normalize the whole URL and such kind of specific patterns can be caught. Okay. They can use some kind of encoding scheme using maybe, let us say they are just putting /20 /20 %20 again and again in the URL, in between the URL. Okay. Just to trick the parser so that it can go into your, web server. And then when this normalization happen in the web server, it can lead to some kind of attack, bit like your access control, right? That kind of attack can be happen. So there are lot of techniques what people can use. They can use something named as directory traversal, right? As I told you, there is a whole website, and into this website there is a whole path. right? If somebody is just bypassing this like this, dot, 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 double dot means like come back again to the same, and after that, they are just going into the ETC and into the network field probably to destroy the network, or maybe into the password field, okay, just to destroy the password or to change the password, maybe, okay. So such kind of manipulation can happen in case of your evasion techniques, okay, just to fool maybe your FI ASM, but ASM has a lot of features, just FYI. So these evasion techniques can be caught, okay, by your ASM. Fine. That is what on which vulnerability we are. Third, if you see vulnerability 4, vulnerability 5, and vulnerability 6, these are more related to your application. So 4 is saying insecure design, right? What does that mean? It means somebody has the flaw in the design or the architecture itself. So it focus on the need. Maybe you need to, as a developer, they need to do the threat modeling. They need to secure the design patterns. They need to check the couple of the principles so that this insecure design should not be, rectified after the implementation. It should be a pre-coded activity, I will say. So to protect it more and more, we can talk about security rules or checks or access control should be there, threat modeling should be there, limit resource consumption should be there. With respect to the F5 ASM, even if they are using such things, I will talk about ASM attack signatures, which they will take care of. Similarly, vulnerability 5, if you see, it is security misconfiguration. So if somebody is doing the configuration issue, right, in the security, it is for sure susceptible to the attacks, right? And why it is so? Because of insecure configuration option. What one should do? They need to focus on their web servers configurations, or maybe whatever they are doing in the coding. They need to check upon that. If they are using XML, probably they need to see the XML entity attack should not be happening. Okay, it is protecting against such kind of attacks. So there are a lot hell of attacks which can happen, like DOS attack, port scanning attack, remote code execution can be there. So such things can be done beforehand, before the application is designed. With respect to the FIVSM, I will again say attack signature or URL flow enforcement, allowed methods or disallowed file types, whatever you wanted to say, you can do like that. Okay. Then in 6, okay, what it is mentioning? It is mentioning about vulnerable and outdated component. Now you can see what we are doing. So but it happens. We think so that it is very common thing, but see, with respect to the coder, a coder has to fulfill something which is really very important within the time frame, which is not realistic. So client is asking for such an application. No, no, I want this feature or that feature or maybe whole application. So on the pressure, people go for such things. Such configuration error happens. Design errors happens. Outdated components they have to use, otherwise they cannot meet the SLAs. Okay, or they download such a software component which is open SSL or maybe not regularly patched. Okay, and these components itself has the vulnerabilities or the flaws in itself. Okay, such kind of thing happens not only with the small organization but in the big organization as well. So if somebody is using such kind of thing, for sure it is outdated component and attacks might be happen. As an FIASM, again, I will talk attack signatures, and we can have some kind of vulnerability assessment policy building with the help of some tools like third-party tools, Qualys or Whitehat's Sentinel, or there are a lot of tools where you can detect the issue on your application. So using that, probably on some cases, somehow you can take care with respect to FI, but it is more towards, I will say, with respect to the applications. Any doubt, any questions so far? Any question? Okay, am I audible?
Yeah.
Fine. So that is your till maybe I will say point number 6. Then if you see point number 7, it is mentioning about identification and authentication failure. What is authentication failure? I hope you people are able to understand. When you are putting your username and password and maybe you are putting the just Cisco or maybe admin and admin, okay, such kind of maybe thing, okay. So when you are putting with respect to the user identity or you are bypassing the authentication, then such attacks happens. Again, there are lot hell of things in case of your identification and authentication failures. It can be your brute force attack which can happen. It is credential stuffing which can happen. Session hijacking can be happen. Session fixation can be happen. CSRF, cross-site request forgery. Have you heard about this term, guys? CSRF. Okay. No. Fine. So CSRF can be happen. I will be going to talk about something about CSRF today. Okay. So that can happen. So there are hell lot of attacks which can happen because of this identification and authentication failure. Give me a minute. Let me have a sip of water. Okay, back. Where is my pen? Yeah. So when I am saying about this authentication, first thing, as an website developer, there is a already a database of how to say stolen passwords or common used username and passwords. As a developer, they can just put a checklist in the database that if a user is using one of the stolen password which is already exposed to the website, then it should be dropped. Okay, it should be said with a message that sorry, you are using a password which or username or password which is already prone to the attack. You should change it. We cannot let you keep this password. We cannot hack our website, okay, because of you. So such attempts can be done. Similarly, in ASM also such a leaked password database is mentioned. Even when you enable that story, ASM can also send this message to the client that, okay, please change your password. It's already in the blacklisted username and password list, bit like that. Then if you are using a session, you are aware that when you have a client, this client is going for a session, maybe with a server. This server used to send some cookies, and this cookie can be a session cookie. Okay, session cookie means to keep the track of your session, that if session is live or not. And if another, maybe this is a hacker, bad guy, okay, steal this session cookie, this can have a session with the server because server will not go for username and password or maybe for the authentication again and again. So in such cases, as I told you earlier, you can have F5 ASM in between. F5 ASM will generate some kind of device ID. I will be going to talk about this device ID later on. Okay, not today, but it will check a lot of details about this client. And if somebody else is coming with the same session cookie, how it works, again, I will be going to talk about in very great detail. Okay, later on in the classes. If somebody else is coming with the same session cookie by stealing it or by any of the reverse engineering, FIASM will recognize it. How it will recognize, that is a separate question. I will talk about that. But yeah, it will stop it then and there. Okay. So such kind of device ID can be created on your F5 ASM. Okay. This is a feature by F5 ASM, which is very easy Then you can enable your brute force protection, in which you need to talk about your login pages, how login pages are created. CAPTCHA, have I showed you the CAPTCHA or something in the demo class? Yes or no, please? CAPTCHA or something I showed you?
No, sir.
Sorry?
No, sir.
Your voice,
Not showing.
no? Let me show you if I can.
Hello?
Show you.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. I can. Give me a minute. Just give me a minute. I am. One thing, you need not to ask any question, because otherwise you people will get confused, okay, or you will confuse other people also. So I will not answer you people what I am doing over here in the security policy, but I am just showing you the outcome. Okay, let us say this is my website, and in the login page I'm just going with any, ABC, whatever. Okay, same username I am taking, so that I can show you afterwards also. So see, unlimited attempts I can do. Yeah, what is this? This is an attack, right? Unlimited times I am just using. But if you have done surfing on your bank, after 3 times it used to show you that, okay, your 3 attempts, 1 by 1 done, sorry, 1 by 3 done, 2 by 3 is done, 3 by 3, sorry, you are locked for 24 hours, or you just go to the bank. Okay, similarly you can do a lot of things over here. 12th October, oh, demo was in October. How come it's October? I don't know. Maybe let me delete all that. Let me put a fresh policy here. One is already there. Can you see this error? Can you see this error? Not coming now. Let me show you again if I can show you. Perfect. Okay, leave it. So let me go for brute force, maybe brute force. Advanced. Let me show you. Just to show you people. PHP. Again, as I told you, don't ask questions, because otherwise other people will get confused. Okay, because I need to talk about all of these things in our classes, upcoming classes, but today I am just showing. Although it is not needed, but let's just do it. I just wanted to show you FISM, how it mitigate the attacks. Let me do something, then probably we will be better. Here we go. Create it. Let me make it bigger again, because that was not allowed. Okay. Username after 3 attempts. Fine. Is it good? I hope so. apply the policy. Let me see if it will work. Now maybe let me remove all the cookies so that I don't have any issue. We will gonna talk about these cookies later on. Fine. A. Oops. Can you see that? Guys, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can see this capture. Yeah. This is your brute force attack. Huh? I did a brute force attack on the application. And you can see it is stopped by whom? By your ASM. By presenting the capture. If I will show you over there. Is it showing some kind of brute force attack? Can you see this? This is a security policy where we are putting it. Okay. And it is showing you all the username and password. Password is an encrypted. That's good. Username is A. So this is how your headers and all of those, yesterday what we were talking about, remember? It is going you all the request kind of stuff. Okay, brute force, it's not showing. Probably I need to do some more settings for the same, but I don't want to go on to that detailed. But I hope you people are able to get the point how it works, right? So that is how your brute force come into the picture, and that is how you can, mitigate the brute force using the ASM. Is this fine? Any doubt, any question to anybody? No questions? Okay. So similarly, we have credential stuffing. So credential stuffing is bit like the breached username and passwords. Okay, the commonly used or breached passwords, bit like Cisco, as I was saying, admin, root password, bit like that. Okay, so those insecure can be already uh, defined in your FIU ASM, and FIU ASM can say that, okay, buddy, I cannot let you go. Then I was talking about CSRF. So what is CSRF? Again, if I will talk about, this is your cross-site request forgery. Okay, which means like, okay, let me give you an example. This is an attacker. Sorry, user. This is a happy user. This is an attacker. Okay, this user is already hacked, maybe by any of the reverse engineering. It has clicked on maybe some kind of malicious link or on the any website, whatever. Okay, this is a victim. So now this victim is going to the bank. Okay, let us say going for Citibank, which is no more there in India. It is Axis, but that's fine. It's going over there. Okay, he is doing whatever he can do. Now is the term he wanted to transfer some amount. So this is user A. He wanted to transfer this amount to user B. Okay, transfer some amount. This is C, who is watching it continuously, and he, in the response, he just made some changes. Okay, for the same, I am just saying very easily here, but to make it done, this person should have a very fair knowledge how to change, what to change. It looks like a proper bank request. Okay, bit like that, but I am just giving a generic example. So instead of funds going to the A to B, the funds will go to the A to C. So he is forcing your user to do something unknowingly. Getting my point? So bit like that, your cross-site request forgery method, which means it will exploit a pre-existing relationship or trust and force a user to run unwanted action on the application where user is authenticated already. So using some kind of engineering platforms, the CSRF attacks happens. Victim will be get tricked by clicking into a URL that containing the malfunctioning or maliciously crafted or unauthorized request for a particular web application, and user think that he is doing it in a right way, but somehow this is a whole soul, in the back end there is a lot of story which is happening, and in the last there will be some loss. So for your ASM, there are some CSRF protection features which will use some kind of JavaScripts again and create some kind of cross-site response token also. Okay, so that happens. There is a lot of mechanism. Probably I am not going to talk about that in today's class. Okay, it's a part of our curriculum. We will be going to talk about it later on. But that is how your stuff happens. We have talked till what? Till 7, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So 8, 9, 10, next weekend, we will be going to talk. Any other question, any other doubt? Till then, if there is something you want, any suggestion, any question, whatever, please feel free to ask.
Sir,
I watched your SNI video, yeah, that you shared yesterday. So I have some doubt. If we want to host, let's say I have 100 website, okay. So we need to have 100 separate client profiles, SSL profiles for this.
Yes.
So we can have an alternative, right? Instead of SNI using the host header, then using an LTM policy, keeping only one profile.
There are a lot of alternatives, if I will talk about. Even if you were not there in my DNS batch, right?
No.
So the people who are there, I explain about this asterisk. So you can have like asterisk xyz.com. Okay. So if you are using maybe let us say for this there is www. So you can have www.sales.xyz.com. You can have www.hr.xyz.com. Are you getting my point? So
yeah, wildcard certificate.
Wildcard certificate you can use for sure. And there are a lot of things to be verified. Okay, you can use as an alternative, but that depends how your maybe setup is or how your organization is going through. Okay. Any other questions from anybody? No.
Hello.
Okay, then one announcement. Yes, Uttam, go ahead.
So just one question I have. I just want to understand. I'm basically, have experience in the firewall areas. I just want to just go relating with this WAF. So there are some vendors they offers like a L3, L4, L7 inspection in the firewall. Why do we need a WAF exactly? So
if you remember, I was talking about Palo Alto in our today's class. No, that Palo Alto is also having layer 7 signature till layer 7, but
yes,
it cannot inspect to that granular level what WAF can. Like one of the way, maybe if you see this, okay, I haven't worked on Palo Alto, but is such kind of capability is there in Polo. This is one of the feature I showed you. There are multiple features.
yes, this is not there.
So that is how WAF is taking lead, okay, with respect to layer 7.
Okay.
And this is one feature I am telling. There are multiple features which you will be able to understand during your class.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Announcements. There is SD-WAN Viptela batch. Okay, I would be the trainer. Is starting from 4:30 p.m. IST today onwards. Those who are interested, they can just come over there and enjoy the classes. Then soon, my automation batch will be also starting, which is for Python based. Okay, Python based automation. Those who are interested, it will start from April, by the way. Okay, not now, in March. April, maybe from 15th of April onwards. So those who are interested, they can also participate in this. Okay, you can talk with me or Myra ma'am, howsoever you want to do. Fine. No questions. I will say thank you to everybody for your precious time, giving your precious time to us. Take care of yourself and your family, your lovely and dear one. Okay. We'll meet you next weekend, same time. Everybody.